This week on Rider Replay, we have coverage on the big home victories for both men's and women's basketball, the beginning of spring club sports, and more, so stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Kevin Whitehead.
And I'm Ashley Monahan, and welcome to Rider Replay. So Kevin, how about those Broncs? I mean, both basketball teams had really exciting weekends.
They sure did, Ashley. It makes me proud to be a Bronc, especially with our men's team finishing second place in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference.
Yes, I'm very, very proud as well. They came out victoriously over St. Peter's College in what was surely a nail-biter. Ironically enough, it was senior day, but yet one of our star juniors made it look like junior day, if that's even a real thing, and blew away the crowd. We now go to Andrew Gray with more on the win.
The Rider University men's basketball team earned a huge victory this past Saturday as they defeated St. Peter's College by a score of 75-72 on senior day. The Broncs were led by junior Novar Gatson, who had a double-double, scoring 24 points and snatching 10 rebounds to go along with a huge steal in the final seconds to put the game out of reach. Senior Mike Ringgold had a great day in his final home game as a Bronc, falling just 2 points and 1 assist shy of a triple-double.
About today's game, I thought that we were a little out of sorts in the first half. I think there was so much emotion and so many guys were really wanted to play well. And I think when you get so many guys that want to play well, we played a little bit too individual, like as individuals in the first half. And it wasn't a selfish thing. It was just everybody wanted to do so well today and send these guys off with a win. And then we settled in at halftime and played really good team basketball. And that was a really good second half.
Rider trailed by 9 at halftime, but with great shooting and even better defense, the Broncs roared back to take the lead with just over 8 minutes to play. With this win, Rider has secured second place in the MAC regular season standings with the ever-important conference tournament on the horizon. Now back to the studio.
What a game, and that Rider finished with an overall record of 22-9. Junior forward Brendan Penn was able to take time out of his busy schedule to do an exclusive interview with us to talk more about men's basketball.
What's up, Rider University? I'm Sean Lineski here with one of the members of Rider's basketball team, Brendan Penn, number 31. Now, a little rundown on this guy. He has 4.4 rebounds, average of a game. He makes 46.3 of his shots. He has a total of 106 defense rebounds, and he makes about 75% of his three throws. Pretty good. So pretty much every time you get the ball, he goes, yep, that just went in. So, Brandon, what got you into basketball anyway?
My father, my family. I come from a basketball family, so growing up, it's all I've been around is basketball, football, but I chose basketball as a sport I love.
Now, who would you say some of your influences are for this?
Just my family, for the most part. My father, he put the basketball in my hand. He's my first coach, so my family.
Your family? Okay. Now, let's see. Ryder, you've got 22-9 regular, 11-7 MAC. You won 5 games road, then you won 7 out of 8, and then 10 out of 12. You're second place. You got to have butterflies. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I got a little butterflies, but once I get out on the court, it all goes away. Just become a basketball player, so we'll be ready to go.
Now, before a game, how do you prepare yourself mentally and physically? Well, physically, I can take a guess. You go to the gym, you bench press about 550, eat 2 dozen raw eggs every morning. But mentally, how do you prepare yourself against a tough opponent? Or if the first half you're down, how do you keep going to come back to win?
Well, I try not to worry about too much what the opponent is doing. I just try to stay focused, stay calm, stay poised, and just play my game.
Now, Loyola, you won 61-60, and you actually quoted in the Rider newspaper that was such an important game to win. Why was that such an important game for you?
Well, previous years they have beaten us a lot, so we wanted to just come out and get a win against them. We actually swept them, so that was good. And since our record against them is not too well, so we just wanted to come out and show that we can beat them.
Now for the bracket buster against Delaware, how did you feel about that game? I mean, I saw you play superb. You're always in defense. Like, Mary, you got this one. Bam, just snuck it from a guy. You're just running down, no one's behind you, and you look to the camera, you did that, and one hand slam dunk. How does it feel to do something like that in that game?
It was great. I wanted to do something better, but the ball had slipped out of my hand, so I just had to settle. But I wanted to get a fan something special.
Now, this year we're going to have some new guys, or like old guys leaving and some new guys coming in. You're going to be a senior next year on the team. How is that going to change? Like, what do you see in the team for next year?
Well, our senior class that we're losing is the big part of our team, so the team is going to be totally different. So me and Nova, our Gaslins, we're going to be seniors next year. Got to step up and show that we can take over a team and get wins.
Now, when you played against St. Peter's, the first half you were a little rocky, you know. Now, during the halftime, what made you come as a strong team that got you really focused and then just crush them in the second? Like, what does that take for that?
Well, the halftime break, we got together and just told each other that we had to get it going. Time was ticking to the season, and we just came out with extra fire and got the job done.
All right, well, thank you for your time. Now, this Saturday, Riders basketball team will be in Bridgeport, Connecticut. They are the 3rd seed in the MAC Conference for 2011. They will be playing against Canisius Saturday night, 10 p.m.
The team is about to start the MAC tournament with their first game coming this Saturday night at 10 p.m. in Connecticut against Canisius. Now, the last time they played Canisius, they lost, so we can only hope for a victory this weekend.
And I think their season depends on it. Riders are in a position where they need to come out and win consecutively in this tournament and to claim it, because if they don't, they may not have a shot at the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
Sure, we'll see another exciting Bronx basketball game this weekend. But now I think it's time to turn it over to the Lady Bronx. The women's team was able to end their inter-MAC play with a thrilling victory over the Niagara Purple Eagles. The Lady Bronx won 62-56, with freshman Mynisha McKenzie excelling once again by netting 12 points. And now to Jeremy Graff with more highlights from the game.
The Rider women's basketball team took on Niagara University this weekend in their last regular season game, and their last home game as well. The crowd was there in support of the ladies basketball team in a close fourth quarter finish. The game was consistently a tight one, with the point spread never really going over 10-point lead. Rider was ahead throughout the game, and Niagara was a tough and good opponent, adding hard play and pressure right until the fourth quarter. The game was very close and entertaining for those watching in the gym or on the televised MSG network. Allie Heller, the #1 3-point shooter, had a great game, putting up 12 points to help her team finish with the win. Riders' team record has been shaky, but after this game, the Bronx look fired up for the conference, where they will be the 9th seed entering the MAC championship. Mynisha McKenzie had a great game, putting up 12 points as well.
Lady Bronx really had a rocky season. I mean, they have another tournament coming up this weekend. How do you think they're going to do?
Well, I think the women's team really has to salvage some kind of victories over this tournament, because this whole year has kind of been a struggle for them so far.
Well, let's hope they do well. I mean, our own Amanda Landisi was able to see what kind of reactions students feel about the Bronx basketball.
What did you think of this Sunday's doubleheader?
The doubleheader was so fun. It was really great to see both teams win after, I've been at basically every game dancing for them, for dance team, and it was really great to see the girls pull it out and win. I was really surprised about that. And then the men's team, they're so awesome. The game was really, really exciting. I was a little nervous there at the end, but they pulled it out, and the seniors had the crowd going. Justin Robinson was there. He was awesome. And we're going to miss the seniors. It was really great.
What did you think of this Sunday's doubleheader?
Both the men and women's basketball team, they both worked really hard, and I think they used their key players, and I think they did a great job.
It's nice to see the positive things other Rider students have to say about our basketball teams.
Well, it sure is. Moving right along, Kevin and I were able to catch some club sports preseason practice. I wish I joined the club soccer team. I really do miss playing.
Well, there's always next year. But let's check out what the lacrosse and soccer club teams expect to see from their upcoming seasons. All right, we're here with President Brian Williams. And Brian, you started this team up last semester. Talk us through the process of that.
Well, basically we just got a couple guys who basically wanted to, a couple of us time decided we wanted to start it up. From there we kind of did a little recruiting on Facebook, had a couple flyers hung out, had a couple meetings, and that's how we were able to get the new guys to come out. We have a lot of freshmen here actually, so it's pretty good to have a young recruiting class come through.
Yeah, and talk about the process of recruiting. I mean, how did your numbers grow throughout? I mean, you talk about Facebook and other things, but what are some of the other ways that got you to this number out here?
Well, it started off slow. I mean, we had originally about 8-10 guys, and then, like I said, through Facebook, we had more freshmen come through, recruitment through kind of orientation, and then once they kind of came through, we started having practices out here in the beginning of the fall semester, and then from there, more guys just kept coming when they started hearing about it. We had, like I said, a couple meetings. That's kind of how we grew it out there, having different flyers up around, dailies and all that as well, so we kind of got some people who played before, so.
Yeah. So, you said a couple of guys played before. Now, are some of the guys new out here? Is this all competitive players out here?
No, one of the good things about club sports really is the fact that anyone can really play. So, we have a lot of guys who have played all throughout high school. We also had a lot of guys who are new to playing. So it's good for people who want to learn the sport as well, because it's a great sport. So we have a lot of guys who have never played before. So.
To make up for their inexperience, they brought along California native Julian Teixeira. You've been through some lacrosse in your high school career. What's that like having one up on some of the players out here, but also teaching them as well?
It's different. I mean, coming from the other side of the country and coming here playing club, it's fun. There's a lot of guys who are competitive and have played as long as me or longer, and there's guys who are new, and it's just good to have myself and other people who are more experienced too, just teaching, and it's a good environment for them to get better because it's at a competitive level. So every practice, everyone's improving. So it's good.
Yeah, and you have the club sports where it's more of a relaxed environment. There's not that full commitment, but you still come out here and have fun with some of your teammates. Talk about the environment of being in club sports and what's it like playing for a club like this?
It's fun. It's good. It's not that much pressure, but everyone takes it really seriously still. I mean, it's still a team, and we have other schools to play, and they have the games to win. So that's what we're out here to do.
It was nice for us to go out and actually capture the club sports practice because it shows that they really are an important asset to Rider as well.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have the time, dedication. Some players don't have that dedication to a Division I club, but to be able to come out and play with your fellow students and kind of a pickup game style, presents a unique opportunity for the students on campus.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Bronx swimming and diving team gave it their all during the Eastern College Athletic Conference as the men finished 4th overall while the women finished 5th. For the men, junior Brendan Cavallero won the 3-meter dive in the first day of the meet and placed 3rd in the 1-meter board on the final day. Senior Aisley Carter finished 5th in the 1-meter dive on the first day of the conference meet and 2nd in the 3-meter dive on day 2.
We are happy to announce that Aisley Carter is being named Rider Replay's Athlete of the Week, and I was able to interview her about some of the conference meet and her expectations for the NCAA Zone A Diving Championships.
I'm Mike O'Brien, and I'm joined now by our Athlete of the Week, Aisley Carter, from the women's swimming and diving team. Congratulations on a great season.
Thank you.
Now, my first question for you is, going into this season, you were the only diver on the women's team. How did it feel to know that you were carrying the weight as the only diver on the team?
First, it was very, I felt a lot of pressure, and I was really nervous, but having 4 boys is a lot different than any other team, and being the only girl can get kind of rough at sometimes, but over the year, we managed to mesh really well together, and they became like my 4 brothers, and we always back each other up and support each other, so it actually ended up being the best thing ever for me.
That's good. Now, the second question is, during the season, you competed in several dual meets, particularly the one at Rutgers. What did it feel like competing against some of the big schools?
I actually competed against a couple Olympians, which is pretty cool, but competing against big schools like Rutgers and Princeton and Washington State, other schools like that, was actually a really great experience for us because we got to have our swimmers like swim really fast races and go best times, personal best, you know. In the MAC conference, we are one of, like us, Marist, and Loyola are the top 3 teams. So when you have us in the top 2-3 teams, we go swim against every big team that we possibly can. We don't swim against many other MAC teams until the MAC conference. So swimming against those big schools made a huge difference for us, and I think that it made it so that we could excel, and that's part of our success throughout the year.
Now, a lot of the success you had this year had to be due to the effort of the new diving coach here, Kristen Kappa. How were you able to adapt to her coaching skills this year?
Well, after losing Dennis, he was my coach for the past 3 years, after losing him in October to George Mason, we were very fortunate to get Kristen, and he didn't leave us in the dust because they're actually married, and she was our volunteer coach for the last 3 years, like assistant coach. So it was very easy for us to transition as far as having Dennis for 3 years and then switching right over to her. And so she made it really, really easy for us, and it was actually a great experience because we were lucky enough to have her and not just some random person that they could find.
Now, at the recent MAC championships in Buffalo, you won both the 1-meter and 3-meter events. Were there like any major changes you made in your dives leading up to the meet?
Yes, actually, Kristen actually changed my dive list. You know, you have 6 dives. Each dive's about 10 to 12 seconds. Usually everyone starts with a front, which is a front approach, which is when they walk down the board and do something front. I actually switched mine for Max to a back approach. That way I wouldn't be so nervous and, you know, like either wash over or go short on a dive. So actually, I did make that change, and actually ended up doing a lot for me. I did it a lot better than I would have probably, because the first dive is always the hardest because you're so nervous and there's so many people watching and stuff like that.
Now, throughout your career here at Rider, you were able to develop lifelong friendships with some of your teammates, particularly fellow seniors Brianna Burns, Renetta Storr, and Alicia Fimple. Yeah. How have they motivated you to perform the way you have over these past 4 years?
Well, especially on our team, our coach Fletch and Kristen, they both do a really good job of keeping us as one team. You know, a lot of swim teams struggle because they have their swimmers and their divers, and they don't support one another and they don't back each other up. For me, I was the only, coming in as a freshman, I was the only girl diver. We haven't had a girl diver since May come in. So I quickly became friends with Bree and Alicia and Renata, and it was nice because I've been roommates with them. I'm with them every day. So we all have really great relationships. But it's nice because at Rider, like, we're all in one group all the time. We have separate practices, you know, and that's when I'm with the 4 boys all the time. But at the end of the day, we're always, he always manages to bring us back together, and we're one close-knit group. So they are like the best, they're like the best girls I could ever have. And having them at my side and like cheering me on when I'm in the diving well, and then when they're swimming, me cheering them on makes a huge difference. And it's unlike other teams anywhere else.
Well, it's great to know, Aisley, that both the men's and women's swim teams have become like a family over these past 4 years, and that's really a special feeling for you and the rest of the team. Yeah. Now, of all the accomplishments you have achieved here at Rider these past 4 years, which one moment sticks out for you as the best moment?
I can't do one. I got to do 3. Well, we won Max my sophomore year, and that was like, you can't top that feeling. That was the best feeling ever, because sometimes as swimmers, you know, and divers, we feel like we don't get enough credibility. We don't get enough recognition. So when we came back as MAC champs after losing to Marist for 10 years, that was like a huge deal. And it felt so good. You know, Fletch and Kristen both worked so hard, and Dennis used to work really hard when he was with us, that winning after losing so many years in a row felt really great. But I mean, obviously, after losing Amanda Burke last year to graduating, me winning Diver of the Year at Max and winning both boards was like a huge accomplishment for me, and that's the only goal I really had all year long, and I really wanted to get it, so I'm really happy I got it. But also for Kristen, you know, she got Coach of the Year in her first year, and Brendan and Tom she got 2 of her boys to go to zones, which is a huge accomplishment. And it's funny because at zones, Brendan and Tom are going to be going against Dennis, her husband, at George Mason, 2 of his top divers. So that's going to be a really great showdown, and that's in Annapolis next week.
Well, we wish Tom and Brendan very best of luck next week at the Zone A Diving Championships. And now my last question for you is, and I know this is going to be a hard one, as you prepare to graduate, what would one final piece of advice would you give to your underclassmen teammates?
Well, I think we're all we've all been well prepared for it. And, you know, we're all really happy that we made it through 4 years. We started with like 25 freshmen, and we're down to 11 seniors this year. So, I mean, the only advice I can really give is keep pushing for it and finish the 4 years. It's the best feeling in the world, because at the end of the day, you can say, you know, I was a student athlete, and that's what is a huge deal to me.
Well, Aisley, thank you very much for all you've done these past 4 years, and we wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. We hope that you can come back and cheer on our fellow Bronx.
And I will be here to cheer them on. Thank you.
No problem.
Hey, Ash, I think it's that time again.
Oh, it definitely is. If you mean it's time for a moment with Mike, you're absolutely right. Take it away, Mike.
Thanks, Ashley. Hi, everyone. It's Mike again, and it's time to talk about what's happening outside of Lawrenceville. The NHL season is reaching the beginning of the playoff rush, and teams around the league are hoping to find the right team chemistry to take them all the way to the Stanley Cup. In the Western Conference, the Vancouver Canucks are leading the way with 89 points, thanks to the play of the Sedin brothers, Hendrik and Daniel, as well as superb goaltending by Roberto Luongo. The defending champion Chicago Blackhawks have been struggling all year due to injuries and long losing streaks and are barely holding on to a playoff spot right now. Turning to the Eastern Conference, the Philadelphia Flyers are on top with 86 points, thanks to an incredible season by 22-year-old goaltender Sergei Bobrovsky and great scoring from forwards Jeff Carter and Daniel Briere. The Pittsburgh Penguins, who were predicted to win the Stanley Cup this year, have been adjusting to performing without Sidney Crosby, who has been out with a concussion since the Winter Classic. Overall, the season has been a thrill ride for hockey fans. And now back to Ashley and Kevin.
Thanks, Mike. And, you know, I'm a Flyers fan, and I really do love the forward, James Van Riemsdyk. What do you think about him?
Well, James Van Riemsdyk has kind of an interesting story. Being the second pick after a dreadful season for the Flyers after the lockout, he's kind of coming into his own. Having some experience last year against the Boston Bruins, of course, and through that whole playoff run, he's really starting to get acclimated to the NHL style of play, and he's really fitting in nice with some of the stars in Daniel Briere, Jeff Carter, and and surrounding stars. So he's definitely having a good year.
Yeah, definitely, and thank God for Bobrovsky. I mean, he's really just making our wins possible. So.
Yeah, as a young kid coming in, he's got the reflexes of a cat. Some say that has never been seen before. So for him to come in, and being mentored by Brian Boucher, a veteran, he has the right supporting cast around him.
Absolutely. Our own Mike Peterson was able to get an interview with Christy Francisco, who currently works for the Philadelphia Flyers.
What is the general fan base at Rider University when it comes to hockey?
When it comes to hockey, to me, it's like I told you before. I think it's a mixed bag. I walk around here a lot, and you see a lot of Flyers, a lot of Devils, a lot of Rangers. But if you had to put a gun to my head, I'd go with probably the Devils.
Okay. Who do you believe is the most underrated player in the NHL?
Ryan Kessler, Vancouver Canucks center. The guy's incredible. He's an Olympian with Team USA. If he didn't get hurt this year, he would be up for the Hart. I think he would be an MVP choice. He's going to be up for the Selk Trophy, which is the best defensive forward for the next 5 to 10 years. He's an incredible player. I think within the next couple of years, you'll see him winning the MVP. So Ryan Kessler.
Season have a first-round upset?
You would have to think so. The past couple of years, you've seen it. Just last year, the Devils were number 2 seed, and the Flyers beat them up pretty bad. And you look at the Canadians beat, I think, both Washington and Pittsburgh. So it's about something's going to happen. There's always a first-round upset somewhere.
Does home ice matter in the playoffs?
To me, no. And I'm a minority in saying that, but I base that off of the Flyers lost in Philly last year against the Blackhawks, and the year before that, the Penguins beat Detroit in Detroit, and the year before that, Detroit beat Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. So that statistics back me there pretty well.
How much money does the NHL make in the Stanley Cup?
It's really hard to say. Come Stanley Cup time, it depends on the markets. If you got a Philadelphia and Detroit, they're going to make a lot of money because that's 2 high-market teams in the NHL. If the Devils play the, the Minnesota Wild, the league might close because there's not going to be a whole lot of money invested there. But if a big-market team makes a Stanley Cup, then the TV rights will make a lot more money. But I'll let you know in June.
Okay, which 2 teams do you believe will make it into the Stanley Cup?
Not because I cover the team every day. I have to say the Flyers for the East. Right now, they're the top team. They have the most depth. And they have the best record in the East and second best record in the entire league. When you get to the West, it gets complicated. The Vancouver Canucks are really good, but when it comes playoff time, they've had a bad case of choking. But I would say right now, if you had to ask me, 100% going to go to Vegas right now, which I hope you don't, would be the Flyers versus Detroit in the Stanley Cup.
Who do you believe is the most improved team in the NHL?
Tampa Bay Lightning. Last year, Tampa Bay Lightning were supposed to be really good. They had a lot of star talent. Star Power. And then this year they turned it all around, and they're one of the top teams in the East. I think they're second in the East right now. Whoever plays them in the playoffs is going to really have a hard time with them. They have depth, not as good as the Flyers, but they got depth, and they got a goaltender now. So without a doubt, the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Do you think any NHL player this season will reach the 100-point mark this year?
No. I mean, we got about 18 games left, and Daniel Sedin has about 82 points. 18 points in about 20 games can be tough, but if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Daniel Sedin. But he might get 101, so sure, yeah, I think one guy will get 100 points.
Well, that's all the sports action we have for this week.
For more Rider sports information, log on to www.gobronx.com. Thanks for watching Rider Replay, and remember, Go Bronx!